Does that refresh your recollection?
Yes.
Isn't it true that you missed?
Yes.
Isn't it true that you missed?
Hi, this is Kimberly. Today's video is continuing coverage of the testimony of Tessa Jillian Daniel. Tessa takes the stand as the biological mother of sisters Laila and Millie to tell of her interaction with Jennifer and Joseph Rosenbaum of Henry County, Georgia. They are accused of the 2015 murder of Laila Daniel, Tessa's 2-year-old daughter, who was a foster child in their care. Also, they are accused of causing injury to Laila's sister Millie, 4 years old at the time. The Rosenbaum's attorney, Corrine Mull, also known as PitMull, has called these accusations, among other things, a big mistake. The Rosenbaums gained custody of Laila and her sister in July of 2015 after state child welfare officials removed the children from their home with Tessa and her mother because of safety concerns following a failed drug screen by Tessa. The girls were placed with the Rosenbaums even though they were already in a foster home because, well, that's what Jennifer wanted. But instead of keeping the little girls safe, Laila was killed just 4 months later on November 17, 2015, having endured physical abuse about her frail little body the entire time she was with the Rosenbaums. She had broken bones and bruises, as well as signs of malnourishment. Jennifer Rosenbaum, an Army National Guard veteran, community activist, worked in the Henry County DA's office and had previously been employed as an aide to a state lawmaker. She was also an Emory University law student and was running for a seat on the Henry County Commission. I feel this is the reason she was so eager to become a foster mother. It suited her agenda and the portrait she worked so hard to paint of herself. PitMull said Jennifer Rosenbaum, who had been a foster child herself, had led a life of achievement and was dedicated to helping children. Bullshit. Today you will hear Corrine PitMull, who, of course, is the defense attorney for Jennifer and Joseph Rosenbaum, and she will be questioning Tessa in today's video. Badgering is more like it for the most part. I was actually taken aback a few times when prosecutor 𝐂𝐤𝐢𝐿 didn't jump in to stop her. Tessa's not the one on trial here. The point is not why her children were in 𝐷FAC's custody, but who had custody and what the hell was going on during that time, and what ultimately happened. Why did one of these children end up dead? I'll tell you what ultimately happened while they were in their care. Besides death, there were scrapes, cuts, bruises, beatings, broken bones, internal bleeding, children not being fed, and, as I said, ultimately the death of one of the toddlers. That's what the hell was going on. At one point in today's line of questioning by PitMull of Tessa, there was one point that specifically outraged me. It's regarding what Tessa supposedly told an officer about why her children were in state custody this very day that Laila died. That's not what was the issue here. I'm not saying that he didn't have a right to question her. Of course he did. But that's not the issue of why they were in state custody. I am incensed that an officer even asked her that, if he did. And I'm on the day that her daughter died. I'm outraged that PitMull asked that of Tessa on the stand. I guess people want to know why. Yes, I mean, I get the whole thing, but it's just she's trying to turn the shit around. PitMull spends her entire time questioning Tessa, deflecting. Well, of course she does. Silly me. Lastly, I am outraged Miss Young allowed it. Maybe I'm naive, but aren't we getting away from what happened while these two little angels were in state care? Which is another case in and of itself. I'm going to do a video later down the road regarding this shit show on its own. The shit show that is called 𝐷FACS, the Georgia Division of Family and Child Services. There are a couple of other things I wanted to mention before Tessa gets off the hot seat. I mean the stand. I know two people that deserve the real hot seat. Hot seat obviously is an American prison slang for the electric chair, a time-honored execution technique. But remember in the video before last, I believe it was, Tess who said Jennifer was much older than her. So I set off on one of my gumshoe missions. From what I could find, they are both about the same age. But Tessa said her memory is bad. I'm thinking the meth will do stuff like that to your brain. She may even be a few months older than Jennifer from what I could garner. But recall that it was Jennifer's 27th birthday was the day that Laila was died, because we're not yet finished studying this trial, and I want to keep it all on the up and up and shit like I do. She would have been 30 at the time of trial and is 32 now, and as I stated, I believe them to be roughly the same age, which would make sense of them being in foster care together, Jennifer and Tessa. If they are not in a private home, they, to my knowledge, would group children together by age and gender. And I'm actually going to be diving into this after the trial. That is to say, into Jennifer's past as much as I can uncover. I found out that Tessa got the big tattoo on her arm the day after Laila died. And did y'all notice the little heart under her eye like a teardrop? I really think that's cute. I don't know how I would look with something like that, though. I've never gotten a tattoo, but I understand that people that get them, they put a lot of thought into what they're going to get, and they have their very special meanings to them. My youngest daughter has quite a few tattoos. She actually got one each of representing Mr. Kimberly and me. Now, she's one that can pull off a tattoo. My kids are very fair-skinned, I guess from a lot of European heritage, every which way of their family tree branches off. But the tattoos really stand out on her fair skin. And I holler at her every single time she's gotten a sunburn. All of my kids. There was a time, oh, never mind, Danielle knows what I am talking about, if she's even listening. She left me and sashayed over to the big island of Watts Island for amateur hour. You better not get sunburned, Missy. So please enjoy today's episode of The Maze of Our Lives. This is episode 5, starring Jennifer Rosenbaum. And now we will cut to the courtroom where PitMull is tearing into and hounding the hell out of Miss Tessa Daniel. And PitMull thinks nothing of spouting vicious, outrageous, bald-faced lies in which to query Tessa about. Her drawn-out process of asking a simple damn question is as well received as a rattlesnake at a square dance. Now, isn't it true, she goes on, I've cut out as much as possible of the lollygagging, coughing, and unnecessary but there's some I'm just unable to crop, so if you haven't used the restroom and you need to do so, run along. Now is the time. This will finish up Tessa's testimony, unless she is recalled to the stand. Much love and peace, and thank you for listening.
I got a cat. A cat? Yeah, I got a new kid. Yeah. What's wrong with Laila? Is she crying? You gotta let Laila forget about me. What's to Laila? You want me to talk to Laila? What are you doing? Are you eating my leg? Yeah. You? I love you so much.
Get to have that visitation.
Oh man,
Why not?
because she was dead.
Nothing but.
Mull, are you ready to proceed?
I am, Your Honor.
Let's begin.
Ms. Daniel, good afternoon. My name's Corrine Mull, and I've got a number of questions that I'd like to ask you. Isn't it true, Ms. Daniel, that the reason your visitation was terminated with the girls was because you failed to show up for several visitations?
That did happen.
Okay, that did happen. So that is why the visitations were canceled and you no longer had visitation, correct?
Not all the visitations.
Other times it was because you could not make it. Isn't that correct?
I think we saw it was because Layla was sick.
So let me turn your attention to August 3rd, 2013. Isn't it true that on that date you communicated with Jennifer and told her that you would not be coming to visitation? Do you recall that?
I don't.
Do you recall telling her that you were sick?
I do remember being sick, but that was. I mean, I don't specifically remember the conversation.
Well, let's see if this refreshes your recollection. Take a look at this and see if this helps refresh your recollection. Does that refresh your recollection?
Yes.
Isn't it true that you missed? Isn't it true that you canceled visitation in August of 2015?
Yes, I was.
Please.
I was just really. I was really far along pregnant with my third child.
And
So, yeah.
Jennifer told you that was okay, didn't she?
Mhm.
Is that a yes?
Yes, ma'am.
So you only got visitation thanks to Jennifer, correct? You didn't get visitation at the Browns, did you?
No,
You didn't get visitation at the Lamberts, did you?
no.
It was only Jennifer who said to DFAC she would allow you to see the children, correct?
In August, yeah.
In August. And in July, you saw the children. In August, you were sick, correct?
Correct.
And then in September and October, you missed several visitations. Isn't that correct? Nobody could find you.
I don't remember any visitations being scheduled. Do you have?
Do you remember the visitations being canceled?
I remember them being canceled in the messages from my Facebook. I remember them being canceled by Jennifer.
You remember that your visitation was terminated by DFACS because you failed to appear at several visitations. Do you not recall that?
I mean, not offhand. I don't.
So
recall.
you don't remember that visitation was canceled for you because you failed to show up several times. You don't remember that.
I think it was towards the end of my pregnancy, and I was kind of.
Is that a yes, then?
I still don't remember multiple visitations being canceled because of my negligence to show up, but
But it is true that your visitation was terminated by DFACS, wasn't it? Samantha Brown, the caseworker, terminated your visitation, correct?
I have phone calls with Samantha Brown where I'm asking her for visitations. I don't recall. I'm sorry, I just don't recall it being terminated.
Okay, you were asking her for visitations because you weren't getting any, correct?
Correct.
Now, I want to ask you a number of questions with regards to Laila. When you had Laila, you reported that she gasps as if she cannot breathe, correct?
No, she had a poop noise, is what it was. and when she only did it when she went to the bathroom. So, but I mean, I guess you could explain it like that. I don't think I've ever explained it like that. I've always just called it her poop noise.
Okay. You didn't report to the doctor that she gasps as if she cannot breathe?
No.
Okay. Isn't it true that both your girls suffered from rashes? Isn't that correct? Both Millie and Laila suffered from rashes on their bottom.
Millie did have hand, foot, mouth. Yes.
And Laila suffered from rashes, isn't that correct?
I think Laila might have had hives or something, but it only lasted a day.
Let me show you what's been marked as Defendant's Exhibit 3 and ask you if you recognize that picture.
I do.
And what is it a picture of?
That is the day after her hives. That's when they're going away.
When is this picture taken?
That picture was taken sometime in July, I want to say, of 2014.
2014. I tender at this point, Your Honor, Defendant's Exhibit 3 and evidence.
Any objection? Admitted. E3.
Now published.
You may.
So this is the child that doesn't have rashes, correct?
No, I told you she had hives.
She has hives.
She had one time.
And this is a picture taken when you had custody of her, correct?
Correct.
And isn't it true that your third daughter also has rashes?
I really wouldn't know that.
You would know.
No.
And why is that?
Because my third daughter is being raised.
Your Honor, it's relevant. We're talking about what she knows. It's about her third daughter. There's nothing irrelevant about it.
Her third daughter is not a victim listed in the indictment in this case. It has nothing to do with the case at hand or the issue at hand.
Your Honor, it has to do with family lines and hereditary conditions.
Overruled.
So why is it you don't know whether your daughter?
Because her adoptive mother has had her since she was 11 days.
So you've had two daughters, and they both have had conditions, rash conditions, correct?
That's what you say.
Since the death of since Laila and Millie went in with the Rosenbaum, you've had two children, and they're both in adoptive care, correct?
Yet all three
All
living
three.
children are in adoptive care.
So your rights were terminated.
They were.
Let me show you. Laila also got rashes when she drank orange juice or things with vitamin C in them. Isn't that correct?
Laila did get rashes on multiple occasions, like I said, and I didn't see a trigger, and I tried not to give her citrus anyways because she wasn't old enough for it.
But so you're telling us that she does not have an orange juice, a vitamin C rash. She does not get rashes when she drinks or eats vitamin C.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, I never related the two.
Okay.
She only had the rash, the hives, the one time.
Now, you have dealt with DFACs pretty much your entire life, isn't that correct?
Pretty much.
And it's fair to say that when you talk to DFACs, you don't always tell the truth, do you?
I'm a pretty honest person.
That's not what I'm asking you. When you
Yes,
talk to DFACs,
yes, I tell the truth. I mean, I was a child, I was a teenager, so maybe I lied every once in a while, but for the most part, I tell the truth.
do you recall in 2013 when DFACs came out and you told them neither you nor your mother had been involved in drugs? Do you remember that?
I really don't remember 2013 too well.
Do you recall telling LaToya Summers that you and your mother did not use drugs?
No.
The truth of the matter is you've been doing meth since age 13, correct?
I mean, that was the first time I experienced it. I haven't been just on it constantly since then.
You gave a statement to Officer Witt at the time that he came out to talk to you about the death of Laila. And he said, asked you why your children were in 𝐷FAC's custody, correct?
Correct.
And what did you say?
Because I failed a drug screen.
Isn't it true what you said is that you lost your daughters because you would do anything to get meth?
No, absolutely not. Who would say something like that?
So you didn't tell DJ Witt on November 19th, 2015, that you would do anything to get meth?
No.
Isn't it true that you told Detective Witt that Laila looked like she had never been fed?
When did Laila look like that?
When you talked to Detective Witt on November 19th, 2015, did you tell him
It did. She looked underfed and unhealthy to me in the photos that Jennifer sent me. Actual updated photos.
So what letter did you write to 𝐷FAC's complaining about Jennifer?
I actually had a court date the day of her death. I had a court date scheduled for Karma Lee.
Who's Karma Lee?
Karma Lee is my third child. And she had been taken from me, and we were going for a venue change from Clayton to Henry.
And what about that hearing?
I talked to Samantha White, and I showed her the pictures that Jennifer had sent me the night before, and I told her that that Laila looked unhealthy, and that's not my baby. That's not what she looks like. That she's sick or something, and I wish that she would go check on her.
And this was November what?
This was November 17th.
November 17th?
I mean 15th.
November 15th.
17th, sorry.
17th.
2015.
Laila was already dead at this point.
It might have been the 14th.
So you're not sure when you had that hearing?
15th.
You're not sure when you had that hearing?
It was on the 15th.
14th or 15th?
15th. It was
15th.
early in the morning.
Okay. So now you told Samantha White that you were complaining about Jennifer's care of the girls.
That's when I became worried. The photos that she sent me, Laila looked unhealthy. Her hair had fallen out, and she had bruises and cuts on her face. Yes, I was worried, and that was the first opportunity I had gotten to talk to anybody about it.
Where are the pictures where her hair is falling out and she has cuts on her face?
I have pictures. I mean, I
Where are
wasn't allowed to bring my own pictures. I have them, though.
You have them?
I'm sure that.
Well, can you produce them at this point? We'd like to see them.
Do I need to bring my phone out?
I would just ask Your Honor if we could maybe take a break and we'll print the pictures up.
Because I have actually two different ones of the same sad angle.
Okay.
Didn't Miss
I sent them.
Young, didn't you send them to Miss Young?
I just sent them, yeah.
Okay. You sent them in when?
I sent them yesterday.
Okay.
Because I figured that would be important. And if I hadn't sent them before, I wanted to make sure they got in there.
Are you asking me to work do something?
Yes, I'm asking that we take a break so that we can get the photographs and print them up.
Okay. If the jury would please step into the jury holding room and come back in a few minutes. All right, let me know when it's done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's continue.
Miss Daniel, These pictures that you gave us were taken on November 16th, 2015, correct?
That's when I received them.
That's when you received them, and that is the day you received them, and isn't it true that it is the same night you were on the phone with them?
Yeah, it's actually, I want to say right after the phone calls,
Okay,
even
so
though
it's
they were
right-
supposed to be done with their food by then, but yeah.
Let me show you what's been marked as Defendant's Exhibit. Let's start with Defendant's Exhibit 8. Is that one of the pictures you brought us today?
Yes.
Okay. Is this a picture of Laila?
They're both Laila, yeah.
They're both Laila. Okay, one's in July and one's in November. And you remember when you talked to her, you asked her to blow you a kiss, didn't you?
Right,
You
but
said, blow mommy a kiss, didn't you?
I don't think that was said in the phone call.
Okay,
Blow
you don't
mommy a
think it was
kiss.
said. Okay.
But because we listened to that phone
If
call,
I'd like to tender Defendant's Exhibit 8.
I think I was just told that's what she was doing. But I have previous pictures of her blowing kisses when the Browns sent me pictures while she lived there, and that's not how she does it. So
So she did it a different way at the Browns than she does it at the...
she did it a different way all the time up until that picture. But I'm not saying she didn't start blowing kisses a different way. I'm just saying that's also sign language that she was taught at the Browns too, for hungry.
Okay. Let me show you what's been marked as Defendant's Exhibit 9.
Did you tender 8?
Yes, I tendered 8, Your Honor.
Any objection?
No objection.
Admitted.
Let me show you what's been marked as Defendant's Exhibit 9 and see if you can identify that.
I can identify that.
What is it?
That's Layla.
And when is that picture taken?
Well, I know it was sent to me after the phone call.
Okay, so that was November 16th,
Yes, ma'am.
correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, if I may, Your Honor, I will tender Defendant's Exhibit 9 into the record and ask that it be published. No objection.
It's admitted you may publish 8 or 9, or both.
This is November 2015. Where are the cuts and bruises on her face?
Well, I mean, is there a zoom thing on there? You can see it on her forehead clear as day. Maybe it's... I mean, I see a actual lump on her forehead right there. You don't see that
On your forehead,
with the cut in it.
with a cut in it.
Right.
Okay? Let me show you what's been marked as Defendant's Exhibit 9 and tell me what that picture represents.
Am I telling you what that represents?
Yes.
It looks like a torn up baby to me.
Okay. It looks like a torn up baby to you. Do you see any bruises or cuts on her face?
I see the same bruise and lump on her forehead.
Okay. You see the food sitting beside her?
I do, out of reach, yeah, I see that.
Of course, she was being fed, wasn't she?
But she was supposed to already be done,
But she wasn't
according to the
already
phone
done,
call.
was she? She was done with the food. But
I
that
don't
picture
know
was
what
taken
was
before
what.
the food was- I withdraw the question.
Thank you.
These are the pictures that you gave us indicating cuts and bruises on her face and loss of hair, correct?
Yes, and is her hair not thinner in the second picture than it was when she...
I'm asking the questions.
Okay, well, yes, I feel that way.
Now, isn't it true, Ms. Clendenning, I'm sorry, Ms. Daniel, that you maintained Facebook friendship with Jennifer before and during the fostering of the children? You were her Facebook friend.
I don't think we were friends.
You don't think so? You don't know?
I mean, I'm pretty sure that we added each other as actual friends after the fact of me hearing about her through Miss White.
Okay. Now, on October 16th, 2015, do you remember that date?
October 16th.
Do you remember telling Jennifer on that date in Facebook that you weren't pregnant anymore, so no excuses about not to work and not to do what I'm supposed to do? You remember saying that?
I mean,
That was true, wasn't it?
yeah.
Is that a yes?
That is true, yeah.
Okay. And Jennifer responded to you that she would definitely be praying for you and she was glad you got somewhere safe to stay, correct?
Sounds like it'd be about right.
Okay. And that was in October when you went missing, isn't that correct? You finally found a place to stay, and Jennifer said to you she was glad that you found a place to stay, isn't that correct?
I went missing.
Well, you weren't showing up to visitation in October.
Well, I was having, I think, a scheduled visitation with Karma, and I was trying to get, wait, this is October, so, I'm sorry, I was ahead of time. That may have happened.
Okay. And that was, we're talking about the October visit. Then in August, you previously testified that in August you also were sick and missed visitation, correct?
That's what we already talked about.
We already talked about that.
Okay.
And in August, you told Jennifer, after the baby comes, things will be easier, correct?
Yeah, I was probably, like, meaning I wouldn't be sick, and
so you said, it seems like I'm avoiding my current situation, but really I'm getting some stuff situated while the girls are in good hands, correct?
yeah, I probably
Okay.
said that.
August 3rd of 2015, you told Jennifer you loved the birthday party she gave Laila, and you said that seeing the girls truly happy and smiling makes my heart happy, correct?
Yeah, but we're skipping back and forth right here. I mean, those pictures that she sent, I was happy about, and then come to find out that was before she even lived there, that they threw her this birthday party. So, but I didn't get them until after she lived with them, the pictures.
This is August of 2015. She went to the Rosenbaums in July 24th,
Okay.
2015.
When did she send me the pictures? Because it was well after her
I'm not talking
birthday.
about pictures now. We're not talking about pictures. We're talking about Facebook messages.
That's the only way I would have known that I loved her birthday party, is what I'm meaning by that.
Okay. Regardless of that, did you say, seeing the girls truly happy and smiling makes my heart happy? Did you say that?
I mean, of course.
Okay. Now, you also took the pictures she sent you, and the videos she sent you, correct? And you posted them on Facebook, didn't you?
I asked her if I could.
But you did post them,
I
didn't
did.
you? And on November 15th, she sent you a picture of Laila just before she went to bed. That was November 15th, correct?
That was the 14th, I think. Was it the 15th?
Let me see if I can find that picture first.
The big T-shirt picture is the one you're referring to.
What you call a big T-shirt picture. States Exhibit 94. That was November 14th, you say, is when you got it. And she died November 17th, correct?
Correct.
We got to zoom it back out again. Now, she encouraged you on Facebook, didn't she?
Of course.
She was nice to you on Facebook?
Yes.
Now, she told you the activities the girls were doing, correct?
She told me what she said they were doing.
Okay. She told you about the face painting, didn't she?
The face painting, yes.
She told you about the fall festival, didn't she?
Yes, she sent me pictures of the fall festival.
She told you about the birthdays that she gave Laila and Millie, correct?
Yeah, well, Laila.
Okay, Laila. She showed you the pictures at Noah's Ark, where they celebrated Millie's birthday, didn't she?
Where she was going down the slide and the
I'm
Chick-fil-A.
not saying slide,
I mean, I relate, because every conversation I've had with her that the ones you're referring to all came with pictures.
She tell you about Noah's Ark? Yes or no?
If that's where the big slide was, and they had face painting and Chick-fil-A.
Did she tell you that she went to the Southern Bell Farm with the children?
Yes, I saw the Southern Bell Farm pictures.
And you complained to Jennifer that you felt a failure, and she told you that you made human beings, you made 3 human beings, and that was a divine purpose. Isn't that correct?
I'm sorry,
Isn't it true you complained to Jennifer in one of your Facebook posts that you felt like a failure, and she told you not to feel like a failure because you made 3 beautiful human beings, and that was a divine purpose?
I mean, she said a lot of nice things.
Did she say that, though, is my question.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And you said to her earlier on in July, you said that you would sleep better knowing the girls will be placed with Jennifer and Joseph, correct?
Yes, because of what I saw, not because of what I knew. Not because I knew her and knew they would be safe, but I based it off of what I saw.
And Tessa, Miss Daniel, you have, since the child's death, you have had custody for a period of time of Millie, didn't you?
Since
the death of Laila, you have had custody for a period of time of Millie.
No.
Millie never lived with you?
No.
Millie never came to the funeral with you?
She did, but she didn't live with me, and I had no custody. I had a visit at the funeral.
You had visits with her, though?
The visit that was supposed to take place before Laila died.
But you had a visit?
Yeah, that took place at the funeral home.
And you had visits with her after that? You had telephone calls with her, didn't you?
Supervised.
Supervised, but you had them,
I
correct?
had them.
And you, I'm going to show you what's been marked as Defendant's Exhibit 4 and ask you if you can identify that picture.
I can.
What is it?
That is a sign that we made for her sister, and all the children were doing it for her.
And when was this done?
That was a supervised visit at 𝐷FACS.
And when was that done?
January 22nd.
2016, is that correct?
That's correct.
Your Honor, at this time I would tender Defendant's Exhibit 4 into the record.
Any objection? Admit before.
Is that the picture that we're talking about?
Yes.
And isn't it true that 𝐷FACS told you that you were having inappropriate conversations with Millie?
Objection on hearsay.
I'm asking her if she was told that. No.
That's statements that were made, I'm suggesting for the truth of the matter, certainly.
No.
And it's not statements made by her, she's asking about statements made by 𝐷FACS.
Well, they're made to her, and she can be asked if she recalls any statements. I'll go ahead and overrule the objection.
I don't recall them saying that to me.
You don't. Now, isn't it true that at one visit in July that you missed, you wrote to Jennifer and said, I wish I could be there. Did Miss White say anything about me and setting up a visit soon now that I took the drug screen? Do you remember saying that?
We're in July.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm sorry, this is Miss White me asking if Miss White had said something to her
Do you
about, I'm
recall
sorry.
telling Jennifer that, because they had a visitation without you, because you didn't show up, do you recall saying?
Object, Your Honor. I think she may need to orient the witness. She's talking about various different dates and asking her, did she say something without even giving her a point of reference?
I gave her the
It's
date.
difficult for the witness to answer accurately.
Two things. First is, let her finish her answers. And second, she might need a little orientation right now. How's the statements
Do you recall July 25th of 2015?
This was,
If you don't recall it, it's okay to say you don't recall it.
well, I try to search my memory to see if I can help you out with your question. And I base it off of things like she wasn't living with them yet. She was doing the home visits with them.
Do you recall do you recall July 25th, 2015?
I can't just recall, like, I'm sorry.
Okay, you don't recall that. See if this refreshes your recollection.
Okay.
Does that refresh your recollection?
Yes.
Do you recall talking Facebooking with Jennifer? Do you recall that?
I do.
Do you recall saying, I wish I could be there? Did Miss White say anything about me and setting up a visit soon now that I took the drug screen?
Yes.
Okay. So Miss White was setting up the visits, correct?
Miss White was overseeing setting them up, and then she handed all that responsibility off to Jennifer.
Okay.
Whenever Jennifer, the time that Miss White set up wasn't it wasn't good for her, so Miss White just decided, well, hey, how about you pick the time? That's basically how that went.
And isn't it true that you missed visitations?
Objection, asked and answered several times, Your Honor.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Redirect.
Tessa, were you struggling back in 2015 with your addiction?
Yes, ma'am.
Were there times when you didn't see your girls when you wanted to?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you grateful that Ms. Rosenbaum and Mr. Rosenbaum were willing to take over the care of your kids?
I was.
Go ahead.
I just was gonna say that at one point, I felt like maybe that they would be better for them, but this wasn't through me witnessing it in person. This was just through pictures that they sent me of stuff that they could get them that I couldn't get them. You know, I just felt like maybe they could have like a family, like a mommy, daddy, stable thing with them, but this was all through pictures and what she was telling me. So at one point I did feel like maybe if I just backed out that they would be better off.
And when you thanked Jennifer, was it based on the photographs that you were receiving of the girls and photographs you had seen previously on Facebook of the Rosenbaums and what their life appeared to look like?
Yeah.
During that time when you were sending those thank yous, did you have any concerns about your girls' safety or the care of them when they were with the Rosenbaums?
No, not at first. I didn't have.
And during your conversation, I think it states exhibit number 98. Do you recall the conversation you and Jennifer had about the girls' weight?
In the phone call?
In the phone call we listened to right before lunch.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And were y'all talking about the girls losing and gaining weight?
Yeah, how their eating habits had changed.
And what did Jennifer tell you about their eating habits?
That Millie wasn't picky anymore, which was odd because she was really picky when she was living with me. But that Laila now was an undereater, and when I had Laila, she had like Michelin Man arms. Like she wasn't an undereater at all.
And I'm going to show you, and I misspoke, it was State's Exhibit 93. I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 95. Is that the same photograph? I believe that is State Defense Exhibit number 8.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that the same photograph you just looked at with Ms. Mull?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd ask that State's Exhibit 95 be admitted into evidence.
No, I have no objections. Just duplicative. I have no objections.
So when you look at this picture, in July of 2015, tell me how Laila's cheeks look to you.
She looks like a chipmunk.
And then in November of 2015, the picture that's right next to it, what do her cheeks look like?
She looks sick.
Are her cheeks still that chunky look as they were in July of 2015?
No, and I feel like her hair is like thin, or she's just stressed or something. I don't know.
Did she look like the same baby in that photograph from July of 2015?
No.
And I want to ask you, I'm going to show you what's been marked already. The same picture, I believe it was defenses 9 and states number, oops, sorry, 96. Is that the same photograph depicted in defense number 9?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd ask that states exhibit 96 be tendered into evidence.
The objection states 96. Admitted.
Ms. Mull asked you about that plate of food. Does it appear that anything has been eaten off of that plate of food?
It looks to me like it's been pushed around. I mean, it's just my opinion.
But is there still food on that plate?
There's a lot of food on the plate.
And then Laila.
It doesn't look like a baby that just ate a nice meal.
And you talked about seeing a bump on her forehead. Is that on the right side of her forehead that we're talking about? Or the left side? I apologize.
Yes, ma'am.
And is that up here in this area where you
Your
bleed?
Honor, I object to leading the witness.
Sustained.
I'll ask, I don't know what we do now.
I mean, it wasn't obvious. Well,
If you could just step down and point at where you're talking about, where you see what you believe to be a bump or a bruise on her forehead. Oh, be careful.
right here, and then the cut is like right here.
Okay, thank you. And I'm showing you States Exhibit 94, and this is from November the 14th.
Yes, ma'am.
And do you see that same?
Again, I would object to leading the witness by pointing her directly to a person placed on the picture. And Ms. Young believes this is the location of an alleged injury.
Sustained objection.
If you could step down with the pointer again and tell me, did you see any injuries or what you believe to be injuries in that photograph, which is States Exhibit 94?
In this photograph, you know how she has the filters, Jennifer. So, but I feel like I might see a bruise or
I
something.
object to what her feeling like. She can say what she's observed, but that's it.
Do you
observed that
observe?
when she sent me 2 pictures and hated the filter on the first one, that's where I got that.
On that
It's-
photograph.
First of all, it's not responsive, but let's stick to the question.
I see the,
Do you see anything on that photograph that I guess maybe caused you concern?
yeah.
And if you could point to it.
There's, of course, the welt on her forehead and on her cheek, and the bruise.
So the first bruise that you're pointing to is on the right side of her forehead? And the second one, what side of her head is that?
This one would be left side.
And you said that there was a bruise on her cheek. Which cheek is that, the right or the left?
The glare, is that glare? Sorry. Really, I just see her forehead really and on her chin, her cheek right there.
And which cheek is that? Thank you.
If at any time you'd like to have this set of lights turned off too, just let us know and we'll send somebody over there to do.
Thank you, George. Now, in that conversation that we listened to, and I can't remember if I asked you this question, did Jennifer express any concern about Laila's weight?
She said that she was wondering if they were doing something wrong, because she lost all her baby fat. And she said, but the doctor said that she was in the normal, I guess what she was supposed to be for her age. She was just maybe like, I don't remember. She said she was a teeny bit under. I can't exactly remember, so I'm not gonna. But I do remember that she said that she was worried because she had lost a lot of weight since she moved in with her.
And Ms. Mull asked you about being friends with the defendant, Ms. Jennifer Rosenbaum. And when did that friendship or that connection occur? Before your kids were in her custody or after?
With my girl.
That y'all became friends on Facebook?
Oh, see, I want to say that it was after. Like, if we were friends before that, it couldn't have been for too long before, but I want to say that it was after.
Did you continue to be friends with her after November the 17th of 2015?
No, ma'am.
And so this photograph with the defense, number 4, is that from your Facebook page?
Yes, ma'am.
And what's the date of that?
That's January 22nd, 2016.
Is that a post that you sent to the defendant at all?
No.
Are you public or private?
I was public at that time.
So if someone gone on the Facebook, will they have access to what you were posting in 2016?
Yeah, the little square right there with the people in it. I'm pretty sure that meant public or maybe friends could see it.
And at that time, you were no longer friends with Ms. Rosenbaum on Facebook?
Not that I am aware of.
Did you do anything to unfriend her at all?
No, I'm pretty sure that she may have blocked me. She's the one who severed the Facebook friendship.
Is there any reason why you didn't sever?
I didn't have time.
And Ms. Mull asked you about a visitation. I'm going to go back And Ms. Mull asked you about a visitation. I'm going to go back in August of 2015 when you said you were sick. What was going on with you?
I was really tired. The baby, like she was almost 10 pounds when I had her in September, at the beginning of September. So towards the end of August, I was just like, I basically never wanted to really move out of the bed, and my feet were always hurting, and I started getting, my stomach would get really like tight if I tried to do too much. So I kind of the doctor never said I had to be on bed rest or anything, but I just felt better laying down.
And so when you're talking about being sick, it was due to a pregnancy?
Right. And the previous visitation I had with the girls in July, I was also pregnant, and it was like, I felt like I couldn't do as much with them. I felt like, I still loved seeing them, and I did not want to see them. In August, I just figured that the baby would be there pretty soon, and that then, because at this point I didn't have any, in my head I never could have imagined what was really going on.
Did you think your girls were okay?
Yes.
Did you think your girls were safe?
Yes.
And did you think you not being there was causing any harm?
No. But I still hadn't seen them either in person. Just saying.
In that last visit that you had with them, you said it was in July. July what?
31st, I want to say. Because I remember bringing Laila her birthday present that I had gotten her. Because it was the first time I'd seen her since her birthday. And her favorite toy was kitchen. So I brought her a whole bunch of like kitchen stuff. And I don't think I brought the actual kitchen that I had for her because I was leaving that in the room that I was setting up for them to come home.
And that was on July 31st?
Yes, ma'am.
And I think Ms. Mull also asked you about visitations with Millie after Laila's death. And you said they were supervised?
Yeah.
How does that work, supervised visitation?
Well, I think there was, since it was at Layla's funeral, I think that maybe, I mean, they were there in the funeral home with us. Like, nobody ever left the funeral home, but they weren't, like, right up on us. You know what I mean? Like, they gave Millie time to be with their family. And, I mean, it was supervised from a distance, but in the same building, in the same room.
Was there ever a time after November the 17th of 2015 that you had unsupervised visits with Millie?
No.
And Ms. Mull asked you about your parental rights being terminated. When were your parental rights terminated?
They were terminated, I'm sorry, just gotten out of, I was in rehab at Right Side Up, and I want to say it was in, there was multiple termination hearings scheduled, and then I fired my counsel on the first one, so they had to reschedule, and the first one was in March
Of what year?
of 2017.
So was this after
Or
Layla's death in
18.
2015?
It was March 2018.
So March of 2018 is when your parental rights were terminated?
Yes, ma'am. Well, that's when they started to do it, and then it got continued until I could find counsel, and then they found counsel for me before I could find my own, because I was incarcerated. And then when I got out, they rescheduled it again. Before I really got a chance to know my new representation. So it was somewhere in May, maybe April, end of April, beginning of May.
So in 2015, did you still have your parental rights?
And yes,
And do you know what a case plan is?
I do.
And what's a case plan?
A case plan is something that it's basically a guideline of things that you have to accomplish so that you can work towards getting your children back.
And were you still working your case plan in 2015?
In 2015, I was.
And you talked about Samantha White. Who is that?
She was my caseworker.
And tell me about your communication with Ms. White.
Well, I also couldn't exactly remember things that we were talking about in phone calls, so I started recording phone calls with her so I could go back and make sure that I wasn't not communicating things the way I meant them. But I basically started calling her too much, is what she was saying. Like, I needed to, she saw that I'd called and she would call me back, but she has other people that she's dealing with, and she's gonna get to my visitation. She just has to get with Jennifer. I'm pretty sure that's verbatim one of the conversations.
And is that some of the concerns why you started to record your conversations with Ms. White?
Yes, ma'am.
Was she always accessible to you in order to schedule visitations with the girls during the time that they were with the Rosenbaums?
No, she was awful at answering the phone. Like, I had to call so many times to where I guess I got on her nerves about, well, did you talk to Jennifer yet? Have you figured out this visitation thing? Have y'all agreed on something? Because at first it was them having to agree on it, but I mean, Jennifer got to make the shot. She was the shot caller and everything, but Miss White, of course, had to agree.
And you were trying to make that happen by communicating with Ms. White?
Right. I just wanted it to get on a roll. Like, I wanted to see him. It'd been a long time.
And Ms. Mull asked you earlier on about a statement to Detective Witt. Do you recall ever telling Detective Witt that you lost custody of your girls because I would do anything to get high?
I honestly don't think I would ever say that. I can't see myself saying that. I mean, I don't recall saying that.
And would you, in regards to Ms. White, would you talk to the defendant, Jennifer Rosenbaum, about your frustrations about not being able to reach Ms. White?
I think I mentioned, I can't remember a specific conversation where I might have said that I couldn't get in touch with her maybe, or that I voiced that to Jennifer. I may have.
Let me ask you, in State's Exhibit 93, the conversation that was taped, and you're talking to Jennifer, did y'all discuss defects?
Yes.
What was her statements to you about defects?
That they never checked on the girls anyways, except for the day before court. And
What else
then,
did she say?
keep going with,
Yeah, during that conversation.
she said that they never checked on the girls anyways, except for the day before court. And then they're all like, oh, how are the girls doing? And then she kind of like just has to throw in her statement, oh, well, good thing I haven't killed them yet because you wouldn't know.
Isn't it true, Ms. Daniel, that conversation you had with Jennifer was about the guardian ad litem, not about the defects workers? Isn't that correct?
Yeah, it was about.
Now, these conversations with Samantha White, where you're trying to reach her, what month was that in?
I've tried to reach her a couple times. You're talking about the ones where I recorded the phone calls?
No, I'm talking about the months you tried to reach her.
It was around, it was after I had the baby.
So when would that be?
It was in September.
September. Do you
End of
recall
August.
in September telling Jennifer, or rather Jennifer telling you that Miss White wanted you to call? Do you recall that?
Do you have the paper or the
I'm
message?
asking you the question first. Do you recall that?
I'm sure she might have said that to
Do
me.
you recall saying that you were glad she doesn't know where I am right now? I'll be in court on the 21st. You remember saying that?
I don't remember it.
Okay, see if this refreshes your recollection.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Does it refresh your recollection?
It does.
So you were AWOL. They didn't know where you were, correct?
Well, it was because I still had my daughter, and I didn't want them to take her because of my previous defects case.
So you were AWOL.
My-
You were not in a place where she could find you, were you?
No.
Okay. And she, in fact, was going to call your grandmother to find out where you were, correct?
That's what it said.
And your response to Jennifer was, I'm glad she doesn't know where I am right now. I'll be in court on the 21st. And that was, you said that on September 16th, 2018. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now let's talk about November 14th. That's the date, and correct me if I'm wrong, when you had that conversation with her, right? Conversation with Jennifer and with Millie and Laila.
No, yes.
Okay. And she sent you pictures on that date,
Right.
correct?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as defendants 5, 6, and 7. And see if you can identify those for me. Can you identify them for me?
I can. You want me to?
Yes, what are they?
These are the updated pictures that I asked for, of Laila and Millie from, November, no, not, November 12th?
Isn't it true those pictures were taken on November 14th?
14th, okay.
Isn't that true? And so those pictures were sent to you, and they are pictures of Millie and Laila.
That's,
At this time, I would tender defendants exhibit 5, 6, and 7 into the record.
Any objection?
No objection.
Admitted the 567.
can I say something?
In response to questions. In response to questions.
Okay, I don't know.
Excuse me.
Oh,
When she asks a question, you respond.
okay.
Is that a picture of Millie on November 14th?
That's the day I received the picture.
But that's also the date of the picture, isn't it?
That's
November 14th.
what day it was printed on.
Yes.
Okay.
That's been stipulated to by the DA's office.
I mean, that was the day that I received the picture.
But it was also the date the picture was taken, wasn't it?
I don't know about that.
Let me show you. That's a picture of Millie. And that's a picture of Millie up close.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a picture of Laila. Correct?
Correct.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to enter, we have drawn up a stipulation that the pictures are dated, both sides agree the date on the pictures are the dates that the pictures were taken based on our service of electronic file to the state, and they were able to check into the dates that they were taken, and we both stipulate that the dates as set out on the pictures are in fact the correct dates.
Okay. And those dates are?
November 14th, 2015.
Okay. And that's the stipulation?
In regards to the first set, we had 2 electronic check drives. Those photographs are on the first check drives, and those dates are stipulated too.
5 through 7.
Yes.
Stipulation is accepted by the court.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as Defendant's Exhibit 10. I believe that's been, I'm sorry. Ms. Daniel, showing you Defendant's Exhibit 10 and asking you, what is that picture?
That's Laila getting her face painted.
And is that a picture you received on November 14th?
I received that picture with the others.
And was that on November 14th?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, at this time, I would tender Defendant's Exhibit 10 into the record.
Any objections? Admitted?
Your Honor, may I publish?
You may.
If I may just have a moment, Your Honor. Isn't it true, Ms. Daniel, that in that phone call you had with Ms. Jennifer Rosenbaum, that she said on the phone that Laila, when Laila stopped talking, that Laila probably wanted to get to her dinner? Didn't she say that? You don't know?
I don't remember what she said exactly.
That's fine. You're not asking you just what you remember. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Please step in. Is this witness one that should be retained, or are you asking that should be
I'm asking
excused?
that she be retained.
All right, thank you. Ma'am, you're excused from court for now, but you may be recalled.
Thank you.